From The Australian, here's What's on the Front. I'm Claire Harvey. It's Wednesday, December 3, 2025. A senior Japanese diplomat, Shingo Yamagami, has accused the Albanese government of failing to offer public support for his country in the face of a vicious Chinese campaign directed at new Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi. Yamagami says Canberra has failed to back Japan as it stands up to Beijing over issues including Taiwan. Finance Minister Katy Gallagher, who aggressively pursued the concept of a Liberal conspiracy to cover up the rape of Brittany Higgins, has refused to say whether she accepts two courts' rulings that the conspiracy was fabricated. In today's episode, inside the fiery parliamentary hearings exploring why the Labor government is spending hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars defending its actions in the Higgins matter.
Let us know what we should be asking for.
No, that's not how it works.
Senate estimates are fabulous. Ministers and their departments are dragged in to answer questions about whatever senators are curious about. It's where opposition and minor party senators get to be annoying and pedantic.
I'm not telling you how to write your APDs.
Okay, well, how about you just tell me?
And government ministers get to be grumpy and defensive. Right now, as Parliament winds down for the year, ministers are huffing and sighing their way through hearings before they can go home for Christmas. This is Liberal Senator James Patterson trying to get a rise out of Finance Minister Katy Gallagher on Tuesday.
Are you interested in the actual issue,
Yes,
Senator
I am.
Patterson?
And yes, I'm very interested, but I think this is a really important issue to resolve.
Gallagher knows her way round a Senate hearing. It was in this forum a few years back, when Labor was in opposition, that Gallagher and Penny Wong got to play the opposition part, grilling then Liberal Senator Linda Reynolds about her role in the Brittany Higgins drama.
Senator Gallagher, I did answer your questions to the point that you ground me to the ground and ended up in hospital. But I'm back here. I'm answering questions. And I'm assisting.
Well, you just alleged that we put you in hospital.
You just
that
alleged?
I put you in hospital, Senator Reynolds.
You should withdraw.
Well, if
So you're the victim, not Ms Higgins, is that what
Order.
it is?
Senator Wong, that's not
Nobody
what I'm saying.
takes pleasure
Gallagher,
in asking
Senator
these
Gallagher.
questions. Nobody takes pleasure in asking these questions.
A few months earlier, a young Liberal staffer named Brittany Higgins had publicly alleged she was raped in Linda Reynolds' Parliament House office by one of her colleagues. We now know that colleague was Bruce Lehrman. Higgins also alleged in an interview with The Project that her assault had been covered up by the government of the day.
I would try and raise it and I would try and bring it up, and it always sort of came back to sort of being a me issue, and if you can't deal with it, then you can leave.
Labor back then used the Senate estimates process to put the heat on Reynolds.
My final question, Senator Reynolds, was it your decision to send Ms Higgins to Perth for the duration of the election campaign?
Senator Gallagher, again.
That's also subject to police
Senator-
investigation. How handy?
And that was your final question. Thank
Senator
you.
Gallagher, that was beneath you.
This has become a sprawling legal saga to rival the Epstein affair in the US. But in summary, this is what's happened since then. Lehrman has been found by the federal court to have raped Higgins on the balance of probabilities. He's always denied it. Reynolds sued Higgins for defamation and won. In both those proceedings, judges said there was no evidence of any political conspiracy to cover up the rape. Reynolds and her former Chief of Staff, Fiona Brown, are suing the Commonwealth. Brown's taking a Fair Work case accusing the government of breaching its obligations to her as an employee. Brown has said she felt unsupported by Morrison and his office. Reynolds is accusing the Commonwealth of breaching its duty to act in her best interests when it paid Higgins a $2.4 million settlement. Reynolds is also demanding answers from Parliament about why she was pursued by Gallagher and Wong for something she's always denied, covering up the rape. When asked about the conduct of Wong and Gallagher, Anthony Albanese last month said this.
Should your senators who led the charge of a Liberal Party cover-up over the Higgins case apologise to Ms Reynolds?
Well, that's not right. I don't accept that characterisation.
What don't you accept?
I don't accept that characterisation.
Your party did accuse the Liberal Party.
I don't accept that characterisation.
On Monday in the Senate, a Liberal senator named Anne Ruston, in the Senate Finance and Public Administration Legislation Committee's estimates hearing, asked Penny Wong this.
And does the Prime Minister accept the findings of the Federal and Supreme Court of Western Australia?
Well, Senator, I will see if the Prime Minister has anything to add to the answer that he gave on the day in question.
Ruston kept asking.
At the heart of this matter was a young woman who a court found was raped in the office of a Liberal minister. And I would hope we can all reflect on the impact on her and, as importantly, all survivors of sexual assault in this country. Now, I know there are further legal proceedings in place which make it much more difficult for us to comment further.
On Tuesday, Ruston asked Katy Gallagher, who you just heard being very robust in this same estimates forum, the same question. Gallagher kept her eyes on the table, doodling with a pencil while answering.
Well, I'm aware of the court decision. I'm aware of that reporting. I have read it.
So, Minister, given that the findings of two superior Australian courts found that there was no cover-up and no wrongdoing, will you now acknowledge that the accusations made by you and members of your government of a cover-up were in fact unfounded?
Senator Ruston, I have nothing further to say on this matter. I have answered a number of questions and I spoke, including directly from Senator Reynolds herself before she left the Senate, and that is on the record and I have nothing further to say.
Coming up, so why is the government engaging the country's most expensive barristers to fight the claims by Reynolds and Brown? This issue is a tricky one for the Liberal Party. Linda Reynolds was, of course, a Liberal politician, and the Liberal-led government was seriously damaged by Higgins' allegations, which precipitated street marches and some very awkward moments for the then Prime Minister. You'd think the Liberals would now, after two court findings that there was no Liberal conspiracy to conceal the rape, be going for the government's throat, strongly backing Linda Reynolds. That's not the case, and there have been discussions within Shadow Cabinet where sources have told The Australian some of the opposition's most senior figures don't want a full inquiry into the matter because they believe the former government has, quote, too much to lose. Anne Ruston, however, is a Liberal who is doggedly pursuing this matter. On Tuesday, the Department of Finance put up one of its senior officials, First Assistant Secretary Rachel Antone, to answer Ruston's questions about why the Commonwealth has engaged some of Australia's most senior barristers, silks including Justin Gleeson, Kate Eastman and Ruth Higgins, and they're defending the Commonwealth against Reynolds and Brown. Ruston repeatedly asked and Antone repeatedly declined to answer exactly how much they were charging.
The costs are commercially negotiated rates that are commercially confidential, so the rates are commercially sensitive and we are under obligation not to share those.
Antone said barristers are engaged on the recommendation of solicitors, taking into account issues like their expertise and whether they are trauma-informed.
The fake and malicious claims against Fiona Brown have quite frankly ruined her life. She attempted suicide
she's had her career ruined and she's simply seeking justice. So I'm interested to understand why the Department of Finance is spending hundreds of thousands of dollars of taxpayers' money fighting Miss Brown with possibly the most expensive legal team in the country at the moment. So what is the justification in terms of your proportionate, appropriate, time-sensitive, trauma-informed approach that you believe reflects the circumstance that I've just read out about a person who, quite frankly, nearly lost her own life at her own hands because of the circumstances of her employment in this place?
Senator, you would appreciate that it's very difficult for us to go into the detail of any individual set of circumstances, especially when a matter is live. As I mentioned earlier, there are many, many things we cannot simply share because these processes of dispute resolution and court processes are sacrosanct, and we all have obligations to maintain confidentiality throughout them and comply with court processes throughout them. So it is very difficult for me to be able to give you the level of detail that you're after today.
Fiona Brown's Fair Work case will be heard in April 2027. We're covering this story extensively at theaustralian.com.au, and you can join our subscribers right there.